Hello, I'm Kelly. Today's yoga class is one that is geared towards strengthening lower body with the emphasis on being able to walk well and with ease and navigate life as we continue to get older. As we get older, we tend to lose muscle mass, we tend to lose balance, which is why we are at higher risk of falling as we get older. This class will help to hopefully mitigate some of that. All right, we are going to start on our backs. We will have our feet planted about hip width apart. And if you were to reach your fingers down towards your heels, you should be able to just brush your heels. So they're pretty close to our bottom here. Before we do any movement, we're going to take a moment to arrive on our mats, making sure that we're moving mindfully. So we might start by tucking shoulder blades under. We might tuck your chin in. I'm not going to because I'm going to smush my mic, but you can do that on your mat. If it's comfortable, you might close your eyes and just drop your awareness into your body. Letting go of whatever you were doing before you arrived on your mat and becoming present in the present moment. While we're here, we might also bring our awareness to our breath. We might think about expanding our entire torso on the inhales and exhaling very slowly to let everything soften on every exhale. Again, let's inhale fully to expand. And exhale slowly to soften. All right, so we are going to get into our first little bit of strengthening. So I'd like you to bring your awareness to the soles of your feet and the backs of your arms. We're going to bend at the elbows, so tops of the arms are pressing into the mat. Fingers are pointing up towards the sky. You're then going to press through the soles of those feet. You're going to squeeze through your glutes to lift your hips up towards the sky. We're looking towards a straight-ish torso. If you're not there today, that's okay. On our next exhale, we'll think about slowly rolling back down one vertebrae at a time so your hips land last. On the next inhale, pressing through the soles of the feet, hips lifting up towards the sky. On the exhale, slowly lowering our hips back down. Let's go up 2 more times. So inhaling, engaging our glutes, maybe our quads a little bit. Exhaling slowly to lower. We'll do once more, pressing through the soles of the feet, hips lifting towards the sky. And hold this one for a breath or 2. Challenging glute muscles after pressing through the upper arms of our feet. And then slowly lowering that back down. From here, we'll roll on to one side. We'll press into that top hand, lengthening the back leg to come back up to seated. And we're going to make our way through to a tabletop so we can cross our legs and then roll over our legs. In our tabletop, we'll have wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. If we need some cushion under our knees, a yoga blanket, bath towel, regular blanket, etc. would work really well here. We're going to get a little bit of movement through the spine, which helps us move better in our life. So on the inhale, we'll think about pulling the chest forward, gaze will lift, tailbone will lift. On the exhale, back will round, we'll press the ground away. We can let the head drop. We'll inhale, pulling the chest through, gaze lifts. Exhaling, back rounds, head hangs. Let's take once more each direction. Inhaling, pulling the chest forward. Exhaling, back rounds. We'll come back to neutral spine. We're going to come into another little exercise to strengthen our glute muscles. Our glutes are really important for stability. I'm going to turn just so that you can see from a different angle. So we're going to start by placing more of our weight into that left knee in our palms. Then we're going to bring that right knee straight out to the side.
And then that right foot is going to reach up to the sky like you're putting a footprint on the wall, or the ceiling rather, and then that right knee will drop back down. Turn different angle. Again, right knee will move out to the side, foot faces the sky, knee comes down. Let's do 2 more in this direction. And 1 more. And then lowering back down, and then we'll reverse that direction. So foot goes to the sky to start, then the knee comes out to the side, and then the knee lowers down. Again, foot to the sky, knee out to the right, knee lowers down. 2 more here. 1 more here. And then lowering that knee, and then maybe sitting hips back onto heels, giving those wrists a little shake out. We've been on them for a little bit. And then we'll take that second side. So finding our good tabletop, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Left knee is going to go straight out to the side to start. Then that foot comes like we're putting our footprint on the ceiling, and then the knee comes down. Again, knee out to the side, foot to the sky, knee down. 2 more in this direction. 1 more in this direction. Knee lowers down, then we'll reverse directions. So foot comes up to the sky first, knee comes out to the side, and then lowers down. Again, foot to the sky, knee out to the side, knee lowering down. 2 more in this direction. 1 more in this direction. All right, from here we're going to come up to standing, so we might slide our hips onto our heels. We might press through the feet to come to standing. All right, we are going to find chair pose, a classic challenging yoga pose. So we've got options. Classic chair pose has your big toes touching your heels a few inches apart. If it's easier for you to have your heels or your feet hip width apart, that's totally okay too. Then we're going to think about sitting back in a chair. We might move just a little bit. We might move a bit more. We might come all the way till our thighs are almost parallel to the ground. Whichever option you're at is totally fine. A little bend, bigger bend, biggest bend. Fingers might be reaching straight up to the sky. There's a tendency for our ribs to want to flare out a lot. We'll try to keep a more neutral spine here. Our legs are probably going to start burning really fast. You're welcome to come out whenever you need to. If not, we'll be here for 2 more big full rounds of breath. And then when we're ready, we'll come to standing. We'll release the arms. We'll give our legs a little shake out. We'll bring hands by our sides. We'll pause for a moment. We're going to do that again, but I'm going to give you a little break. So pausing, finding our mountain pose. Palms facing forward, crown of the head reaching to the sky. Taking a couple breaths here. And then when you're ready, finding your mountain pose once more. Maybe feet hip width apart. Maybe big toes coming to touch heels a few inches apart. Maybe bending the knees just a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe a lot more. Fingers reaching up to the sky. We're thinking about pressing down equally through front of the foot, back of the foot, left foot, right foot, etc. Nice, solid, strong base here. We're remembering to breathe. We're coming out whenever we need to come out, even if I haven't come out yet. And let's take 2 more rounds of breath here. And then pressing through the feet to come back up. We'll find our mountain pose once more, taking a couple breaths here. All right, we're going to do just a little bit of balancing here. So I invite you to shift your weight into the left foot, maybe picking the right heel up, maybe coming up onto right tippy toes, maybe bringing right knee up towards your waist-ish. If it's lower, that's okay too. If we want to add a little balance challenge, we might bring right knee out to the side or across the body to the left. And then back to center, and then lowering down. And then we'll take that second side, grounding down through the right foot, maybe picking left heel up, maybe coming up onto left tippy toes, maybe bringing that knee up towards the waist-ish, maybe staying here, maybe bringing the knee out to the side, or across the body. And then coming back to center, gently lowering whatever was lifted on that side. Excellent. All right, so from here, I would like you to step your feet out wide. So they're pretty good and wide, bigger than any normal standing position in normal life. And then I'd like you to swivel those right toes towards the front of your mat and your back toes back 45 degrees. So right toes facing short end of the mat, back toes, again, a 45-degree angle. All right, from here, we're going to bend that front knee as much or as little as works for your body. We're thinking about right knee working towards stacking over the right ankle. If you're not all the way there today, totally cool. If your knee is way far forward, it's probably because your stance is too narrow. In that case, you're going to wiggle your back foot back until you've got that right knee over the right ankle. We could keep hands at our hips, or we might bring hands parallel to our mat. Gaze might look over the right shoulder at our right fingertips. We're thinking about engaging that right outer glute so that right knee isn't caving in, but stacked well over the outer toes on that right foot. And then we'll straighten that front knee. We'll swivel all 10 toes towards long end of the mat, fingers reaching to the sky. And we'll fold forward here. We might have yoga blocks or a bolster or couch cushions if the floor feels far away. We can stack them to bring the floor closer to us. We might have fingers between the feet. Wherever we are, we're thinking about letting the back body soften and the head hang. And then from here, we're going to engage through the legs. We might come up halfway, flat back. We might bring hands to our hips. We might soften our knees. We might pause a little bit halfway so the blood doesn't all rush out of our head. And then very gently standing back up. All right, from here, we're going to take warrior two, second side. So left leg, left foot is going to swivel towards long end of the mat. Back heel swivels back so that foot is at a 45-degree angle. We are going to bend that front knee, working towards left knee, stacking over left ankle, thigh working towards parallel-ish. It's totally okay if we're here today and that's as far as we can go. Once we've found depth in our legs, we'll take our arms out wide and gaze might look over the left shoulder. Engaging through that left glute so our knee is tracking over the outer left toes and not caving in on that left leg. Engaging through back of the right leg, so we've got nice support there as well. And then straightening the front knee, swiveling all 10 toes back to long end of the mat. We'll heel toe our feet back in to center, and then we're going to come to sit on the floor. Once we have found our seat, we're going to take our feet just a little ways away from each other. There's no real set distance here. And you are going to grab something small. I've got a pen. You might have a pen and you're going to put it by your right foot. And then you're going to engage your right quad. You're going to pick that right foot up and over that little object that you put on the floor. And then again, engaging quad, hip flexor, and moving the foot up and over. And this looks really simple, but it actually can get a little challenging pretty quickly. So we'll just do a few. As soon as you start to feel that quad be like, really cranky, it's time for you to stop. But just getting that quad, a little bit of action, and that hip flexor, a little bit of action here. A lot of us feel like our hip flexors are tight, and they often are, but some of what we feel is actually more of a hip flexor weakness, and so this kind of an exercise helps with that. All right, that side's probably tired. Let's switch over to the second side, moving your object, my pen in this case, over to that left foot. Engaging the left quad and the left hip flexor, picking that foot up, bringing it to the other side of the object. Moving back and forth. There's a tendency, I just noticed myself doing it, to try to lean back, which kind of escapes making those muscles work. So making sure we're staying upright in our seated position, engaging the quad, engaging the hip flexor. And then whenever that quad is saying it's had enough, it's time to stop. We can put our little object away. From here, if it's comfortable, we'll come into a cross-legged seated position. And for some of us, this is a big ask on our hips, and we might just stay here sitting up nice and tall, crown of the head reaching towards the sky, trying to let muscles soften and sink into this position. If sitting is easy peasy for you, we might think about folding forward, in which case we'll take a nice long spine, we'll bring that length forward. We might have hands resting on the ground, forearms, etc. If we're folding forward, we'll think about letting the back round, the head hang. We'll take a couple breaths here, getting a little bit of stretching into our hips here, after we worked them a little bit today. And then we'll walk our hands in to come out. And then whichever leg is behind, we're going to bring that leg out, around, and in front. And again, our best option might be just sitting here, trying to get comfy in our cross-legged position. Or we might have some extra room to move, in which case we'll fold forward. We'll try to let the back round, the head hang. And again, if we folded forward, we'll walk the hands back in to come out. We'll rest hands on our thighs. If it's comfortable, we might close our eyes. We'll take a moment just to check back in with our bodies. How are they feeling? How is your breath moving through your body? Maybe taking one last big, full, expansive inhale. And long, slow exhale. We'll bring our hands to our center. We'll take a moment to thank ourselves for doing something to improve the quality of our lives. Thank you very much for sharing your mini little practice with me today. Namaste.